Assalamu alaikum. In last lecture, we talked about process of communication, and in that we discussed what communication is, and then we talked about different steps, different components, or different elements of process of communication. There are six components or elements of process of communication, and in those process of communication elements. The first one is the sender. And in sender, we talked about six different steps. What a sender takes different steps. He defines his purpose, he analyzes his audience, he or she collects data, he or she applies communication skills, and he has to keep a balanced attitude, and he or she has to create his or her credibility. Today we are going to talk about second component or second step of process of communication, and it is context. First, we need to understand what context is. Basically, circumstances or condition in which communication occurs is called context. In other words, we can also call it the reason for communication. Why are you communicating is basically your context. Moreover, anything that stimulates communication is also called context. It can be divided into different kinds, and first one is called physical context. Physical context is basically it includes environment, time, temperature, distance, as well as seating arrangement. If a communicator is communicating in a noisy place, he has to raise his volume, right? You cannot speak in louder volume if you are working in a stock exchange or you are working in a big, huge fish market. Obviously, you cannot speak in low volume. You have to raise your volume there. Similarly, if a class starts in the morning, response from both sides will be better as compared to the class starting in the evening. When you take class at 9 o'clock, your efficiency, your response, your strength is better when you take as compared to the class that starts after your lunch and prayer break, right? So time also matters a lot. So in the same way, other elements also play important role in communication, like when uh, the distance. If you are talking to someone who is very far away from you, you are going to speak louder. But if someone is sitting beside you, so you can conversate with him or her even uh, in very, very low voice, right? Similarly, uh, seating arrangement also creates a message. Like if you take example of classroom, your teacher is standing on the podium and you are sitting on your seats, and that arrangement tells you that teacher is authority, and there will be less discussion, more lecture. The teacher will be more active, you will be comparatively passive. But if we change the seating arrangement, we place a big table in the middle of the room, and we place seats around it. Teacher and students both are sitting together. So there, that seating arrangement shows that there will be discussion. You may be right. Your point of view will be accepted. Your point of view will be entertained or appreciated, right? Or uh, there will be discussive mode, right? So after physical context, let's see what we have. Our second context is social context. It includes social relationship between communicators and occasion or event of communication. A teacher can ask his or her student to meet him or her after the class, but a student cannot say the same to a teacher. You can't say your teacher, okay, sir, meet me after the class. But teacher has the authority to say this thing. So that is basically your social context. Similarly, occasion when communication occurs also matters. If you are on a funeral, your body language will be different. You will not laugh there. You will try to sit silent. Your face will reflect sorrow. But on the other hand, if you are in a marriage ceremony, you will laugh, you will share jokes, and your body language will show your happiness. So, in social context, always remember two things: your relationship between communicator and the time or the event or the occasion when you are communicating. All right. So, after social context, we have third context, that is called historical context. If past communication influences understanding current communication, it will be called historical context. Let's suppose you three friends are studying in a university. Two of you were present in the class, and third one were not present. So now you reach, you two enter your hostel, and you are talking about something that sir has given us, sir has taken a very uh, difficult test, and I hope that at least I will not pass that paper. So the third will not understand what he will say. Okay, what are you talking about? What test you are talking about? In what subject you are going to be failed? Because he was not there in that communication, in previous communication, what the communication that happened in class. That's why he cannot understand. But the two were present, they were part of the communication when that whole thing happened. So they both will understand, but the third will not understand. So in this way, previous communication is helping you understand current communication. So that will be called historical context. Fourth one is psychological context. Your mood, feelings are part of psychological context. Your liking, your disliking are part of your psychological context. Your feelings play a vital role in liking or disliking someone or something. Similarly, if someone is in good mood, his communication will be different. But if someone does not feel well, his communication will be different. Let's suppose you have not performed well in your test and you are feeling dejected. Your other friends say, okay, let's go to party and we'll have a dinner there. So you say, no, I don't feel like having dinner. I feel like sleeping, because you're not feeling well. So you are not going to be part of that party, right? Psychologically, you are rejected. You are very tired. So again, you can have such kind of response. Similarly, see, you like people on the basis of gender, you like people on the basis of race, you like people or dislike people on the basis of color. So all these create psychological context. You can take example of Trump. How many times he has given racist remarks about Mexicans and other immigrants? Why? Because he is white supremacist, right? So that all feeling is in his mind. That's why, according to that, he communicates. So psychological context also plays a vital role in communication. The last one is called cultural context. Your traditions, religion, ethnicity, belief, and thought are included in cultural context. For example, the word Sai is used for respect in Sindh or South Punjab, but it is used differently in Central Punjab. In Central Punjab, we call Sai a person who is not very sharp-minded, who's not very shrewd, who's not very cunning, who's very simple. But in Sindh, we call Sai for the respect, for sir, even in South Punjab, right? So same thing is looking into the eyes of elders while talking to them is considered disrespectful in South Asia, especially in Pakistan. If you in Pakistan, Sri Lanka, India, Bangladesh, if you look into your elders' eyes, they will consider that you are disgracing them. You are not giving them respect. But if the same thing you do in the United States of America, your parents will think that you are trying to deceive them. You're trying to tell a lie or something is fishy. So your culture same action in different culture can give you different meaning. So that was our cultural context. So we talked about 5 different contexts. That was our second component or element of process of communication. Third one is message. It is core element of communication because communication occurs through sending and receiving messages. For before going to discuss message, we have to understand 6 different short but very important terminologies. First one is meaning. It is existing information in a mind, right? The information that exists in a mind is called meaning. Second one is symbol. Symbol can be word, it can be action, it can be any sound, any word, any action, any sound that present meaning is called symbol. Then we have third terminology, that is encoding. Encoding is basically transforming meaning into symbol. Another terminology is decoding. It is transforming symbol into meaning. Fifth one is encoder. The person who transforms meaning into symbol is called encoder. And the last one, sixth terminology is decoding. Yes, the person who transforms symbol into meaning is called, he or she is called decoder. So we talked about meaning, symbol, encoding, decoding, encoder, and decoder. So now so now see, we have these terminologies on the screen: meaning, symbol, encoding, decoding, and there are 2 more, that is encoder and decoder. So now we move to components of message. A message will have 3 components. First one will be content, second one will be structure, and third one will be style. Now see, what is content? Content means required information to achieve desired goal. Structure means order or sequence given to information, and grammatical structure to present information. Content means what subject matter you are going to share. If you read any book, you want to buy any book, what you do? First you see content. What is the subject matter of this book? Either I will like it or not. Should I or not? Should I read it or should I not? Structure has 2 different parts. One is what grammatical structure you use, and the other one is how you arrange or present all information. These are 2 things involved in structure. Let's see, if you in structure, if you give order to data, that may be chronological. You can have reverse chronological. You can have cause and effect. You can have you can share data according to importance. You can share data according to space, even time, right? So for choosing grammatical structure, if you are talking about someone's routine, you will use present form of the verb. But to narrate an incident of past of the verb, if you are relating any narrating any incident that happened in past, you will use past tense. You will not use present tense, right? Third one is style. Style refers to selection of appropriate words. What appropriate, suitable, most suitable words you use. You choose words by keeping your audience in your mind. If your audience is a group of small children, you will not use difficult vocabulary. But if you're talking to professors or to PhD doctors, you can use difficult vocabulary there, right? Concluding, if content and structure are perfect, but words are not appropriate, message will not be effective. Your words will help you create an effective message. Your structure is very good. You have used very good content, but the selection of words is not appropriate. Again, you can lose your goal. You will never have a very good, effective message. After third component, now we are going to talk about fourth component, that is called channel. So the way through which message is conveyed is called channel, like radio, loudspeaker, internet, postage, phone, newspaper, and TV. They are different channels. For selecting these channels, you have to either consider your context, audience, or finance, right? So uh, see these different channels you can have. So when you want to select these channels, what you have to do, you have to consider context, you have to consider audience, and you have to consider finance. Let's explain it. Let's suppose, see, Pakistan is the only country where we have the problem of polio. So are you have started campaign of giving polio drops to children. So you want to convey this message to every nook and corner of the country. So you will choose a radio. Why? Because it is radio. It is the radio that can be available at any nook, at any every place. Like if you are at Siachen Glacier, if you are at on the high mountains in GB, or you are in desert in Sindh, or even in Punjab, or in mountains of Kashmir, wherever you are, your message will be received, your message will be heard. So you will choose a radio, right? You will never use internet because in the whole country, internet is not available. Similarly, you can take example of phone. Let's suppose you have to arrange, you have to, you are going to have a meeting tomorrow, but unfortunately, in invitation letter, you wrote incorrect date. So you have very short time. You have 4, 6, 7, 8 hours. Now, if you say, okay, if I send them letter again, there will be so many people who may miss this meeting. So what you do, you phone all of the participants. Okay, we regret to inform you that the date written on the letter, invitation letter, is wrong. So we are informing you that the meeting is tomorrow from 10 to 11, right? So in this way, you can choose channels. Similarly, money or finance plays a vital role. Take example of politicians, the parties in Pakistan or even in the world, the parties which have strong financial support, they when they do their campaign, that is different. And if an individual in Pakistan cannot think of making a song, a party song, and to get it telecasted on 24 or 25 channels in the country, he cannot afford it, but party can afford it, right? So finance also matters. So after channel, we have another fifth component that is called receiver. And receiver is going to do the same thing, all the same parts. He will consider purpose. He is audience, so he will respond to you. He will consider data. His communication skills also matter. Then attitude and credibility. See, purpose. If the purpose of you both people, sender and receiver, doesn't match, you will not have successful communication. Same audience. When we said, okay, you have to put yourself on the shoes of your audience, so you created a message according to their age, according to their interest, according to their religion, according to their social background, according to their interest, according to their educational background. So they will respond to you. He will respond to you. Data, yes, whatever data you are providing, he or she is going to recheck it. It is not that whatever you are saying, he or she will accept it. No, he or she is going to reaffirm it. Then his or her communication skills also play a vital role. If your English is good and his or her English is not good, he does not understand what you are saying or what you have written. So obviously, communication will be a great failure. Same is with the attitude. He or she also has to uh, adopt a balanced attitude. And same is credibility. He will respond to you according to your credibility, what he or she has in his or her mind. So after receiver, last one is feedback. It is your response of communication. It tells you either it is successful or it is a success or it is a failure. And feedback can be long term and short term, right? Now see what feedback is. It is the response to sender's communication that tells sender either his communication is successful or not. It is just like a mirror which shows one's strengths and weaknesses. It also provides an opportunity to improve communication. For this, one has to analyze feedback neutrally. Don't be biased. Otherwise, feedback cannot benefit you. Feedback can be of short term as well as of long term. In speaking, one can get feedback at the spot, but in writing, feedback comes in a long term, later. So that is all about process of communication. I hope you have understood it. Allah Hafiz.